Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday
Good
class.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon
Good
po.
afternoon po.
I hope you are all okay,
Good afternoon po.
especially in state of health. Today we are going to talk about module number 3, the thesis proposal. I will now show my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes po, sir.
Okay.
Yes po.
Po, sir.
Mabilis lang to, napakabilis. Mga 30 minutes. Marami ang trabaho
Hindi
tayo
po,
sa
sir.
gawa. Ha? Okay na, nakikita na lahat.
Kita na po.
Po, sir. Okay na po. Okay na po.
Welcome to module number 3, the thesis proposal. Somebody read for me the intended learning outcomes. Pakibasa.
Intended outcome. I'm expect critic a research proposal in the light of its completeness and comprehensiveness. Describe the steps in writing a research.
Thank you. Sino ikaw? We're doing.
Sir, continue pa.
Hindi, ako na. Thank you. Okay. We need to make a research proposal because we need to set the direction of the research that we are going to conduct. It is necessary to ensure efficient and effective research outputs. So you as researchers would definitely be required to prepare activities and strategies instrumental in the achievement of research productivity. Thus, a common tool is used by the research experts in the conduct of research, and that's what we call research proposal. It is in this context that thesis proposals are recommended before the usual process of research commences. Before you go into the ground, before you start surveying people, before you start doing program of your choice, we need to receive the approval of the panel of examiners when we present our research proposal. Research skills are but indispensable in the preparation of any research plan, and we are somehow expecting that because of Technology Research 1, you will somehow get those kind of indispensable skills necessary for conducting research. So developing these skills would include a critical and creative thinking, which are necessary in crafting a comprehensive research plan or proposal. Moreover, researchers gain benefits in the process of preparing a research proposal since it will guarantee a clear flow of the research processes, which help researchers achieve expected research objectives. So, since research is a systematic inquiry on something, especially offering solution to a certain problem, we will be dealing with step-by-step procedure that will be detailed later. Ang ating pong pag-uusapan ay ang content ng research proposal, pero ito po ay overview pa lamang ng kabuuan kasi ito po ay bibigyang detalye sa Module 6, Module 7, and Module 8. For preliminary term, we will be finishing or targeting to finish Module 1 to Module 5. Or Module 6, Module 1 to Module 6. Pagdating ng midterm, isang module lang tayo, that's Module 7. Pagdating ng finals, isang module lang din tayo, that's Module 8. So let's look at the overview. This part introduces to you the would-be experts in research the concepts of thesis proposal as a whole. It entails a substantial discussion of the various parts and the concomitant processes involved in the preparation of a research proposal. Let us first define research proposal. So research proposal is a detailed plan or blueprint used by the researcher as a guide in the conduct of research. So kung mag-program ka ng mga kung ano-anong komplikadong mga bagay, huwag mo masyadong isipin kasi sa kasalukuyan, ang tatapusin lang po naman natin ay plano kung paano mo siya gagawin. Pero kung kailan mo gagawin yung pinaplano mo yan, ay next step pa yan sa research 2 or sa technology research 2. So it includes the process of intensive conceptualization na nangangailangan ng inyong oras, ng effort, and expertise to accomplish. You have a partner with you. So I have consulted professors from Gumaka Campus para ma-group ng maayos ang ating mga estudyante na galing Gumaka. Meron tayong partner, may ka-partner kayo during the research time. Pag Module 1 hanggang Module 1 to Module 4, ay individual output. Pagdating ng Module 5, 6, 7, and 8, yung magka-partner ay iisa na lang ang hihingin ko na output. So you need to brainstorm, makipag-usap sa ka-partner. Makipag-usap sa experts, mag-interview ng mga tao sa inyong larangan upang gather ng information needed for the research. It assures the research proposal assures researchers a systematic and logical approach to the conduct of their investigation. It can also mean as working proposal. Pag sinabing working proposal, hindi pa siya final kasi pagdating sa dulo, bago mag-final defense, minsan nababago pa rin kung anong laman ng ating proposal. It depends on the situation and depends on the output na magagather sa dulo. Bawat academic institution ay may kanya-kanyang unique research culture. So iba ang research culture ni SLSU, iba ang research culture ni UP, ni Ateneo, ni La Salle, and so on and so forth. Some follow peculiar formats and parts, but some may have set different styles and standards. Sa SLSU, makakakita ka ng chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pero sa ibang mga eskwelahan, wala ka na makikita ng chapters. Isang bagsakan, wala umpisa hanggang dulo. Because they are following what we call APA format. Ang sinusunod natin in the field of education and technology at psychology sa kasalukuyan ay yung APA format or the American Psychological Association format. They are an institution who established the format when it comes to conducting research. Pero pag IT, hindi masyadong nag-adhere sa APA. Pero kahit na ang Comprog ay nasa IT part somehow, hindi pa rin natin pwedeng hindi sundin sa APA simply because the format na ginagamit ng university is aligned to the APA. So kung anong ginagamit ng institution, doon tayo susunod. Meanwhile, mga teacher education institutions katulad natin in the country may have their exclusive features of research proposals, but generally, there are three major requirements or components ang isang research proposal. At ito yung tatlo, the introduction of the problem, the theoretical framework, and the research methodology. In our case, meron tayong, nagbabago kasi ng term na ginagamit, but basically dito rin umiikot yung mga konseptong nakapaloob. Sa SLSU, we have introduction, this chapter 1, yung chapter 2, kung sa iba ay theoretical framework, sa atin ang tawag dyan ay review of literature, at yung research methodology, which is chapter 3, sa atin ang tawag lang sa kanya ay methodology. So these are the parts of research proposal, the SLSU format. The vital anatomy of a research proposal is shown below. It starts with, first, chapter 1, introduction. Anong laman ng introduction? So this part discusses on how the problem is perceived. Dito nakadetalye kung ano ang problema na meron tayo. Ano yung existing problem na gusto mong sagutin. Ito yung nagbibigay ng substance, ng dahilan kung bakit kailangan at kailangang ikandak ang isang research. Thus, it details the background of the study by mentioning the salient evidences of the problem. Evidences could be in the form of dating mga research. Ipe-present ko siya sa chapter 1 para mapatibay mo ang iyong pundasyon at dahilan na kailangan mo talaga i-conduct ang research, and probably shares the rationale of the study. When we talk about rationale, it speaks of the reason why you are conducting such research. At pag nag-present tayo ng title, ang ipe-present lang natin sa panel ay rationale that details the background of the study and the title itself. Yun lang dalawa na yun. Kailangan lang natin mapatunayan sa panel na mahalaga ang ating kinakandak na study at relevant siya sa kasalukuyan. Next part, so we have introduction. Ang naman una niyan ay the introduction, then background of the study. Then there goes the objectives of the study or the statement of the problem. In your case, since you are computer programming students, ang gagamitin natin ay objectives of the study. Kapag mga FSM or pedagogical researches, we use a statement of the problem. Anong kaibahan ng iba? Pag objectives of the study ang ginagamit, more on the developmental side, you're going to design, you're going to develop, you're going to make. Pag statement of the problem, most of the time you're showing correlation, you're showing significant differences from one variable to the other variable. Pag objectives, ang ginagamit natin na statement ay declarative sentences or objective type. Let's say, for example, specifically, this study attempts to attain the following objectives. 1, to determine the material requirements needed in the development of this program. 2, to design and develop the program of this ganyan. And then 3, to evaluate the program in terms of this parameter, so on and so forth. Pag statement of the problem, we're using question form. Like statement of the problem number 1. What is the perception of the students on their academic performance? So it's question 4. Or what is the significant relationship between the behavior of the students and their academic performance? Statement of the problem. In your case, we will be using objectives of the study. This portion capitalizes on the presentation of the general problems and sub-problems of the study. So it always starts with the general or the full-blown statement, then goes with 3 specific objectives or statement of the problem. Yung tatlo na yon, hindi pwedeng dalawa, hindi pwedeng isa, kailangan siya ay 3 pataas. Generally, it offers essential questions which are expected to be answered at the end of the research or objectives to be attained. After nun, laman din ni Chapter 1 ang significance of the study. Ang significance of the study ang nagbibigay ng statements na mahalaga at importante ang iyong study sa iba't ibang sektor ng lipunan. Halimbawa, you are going to make a program or a game application for students in TLE. Gaano siya kahalaga sa estudyante? Gaano siya kahalaga sa teacher? Gaano siya kahalaga sa part mo sa researcher? Gaano siya kahalaga sa school? Gaano siya kahalaga sa SLSU? Gaano siya kahalaga sa community? Gaano siya kahalaga sa educators? At gaano siya kahalaga sa mga future researchers? So, significance of the study presents the manifesto to which the study is significant. It pertains to the general contributions of the study to the specific field of study. After giving details of the significance of the study, the next part is the scope and limitations. Usually, I advise my advisee to put 2 paragraphs when it comes to scope and limitation. The first paragraph will focus on the scope. Ano ang nasasakupan at nasasaklaw ng iyong pag-aaral? The second paragraph will detail on the limits. Ano ang limitasyon ng iyong pag-aaral? Let's say, for example, ano bang slide? It's okay ka na, Alice. Example, itong isa kong advisee tungkol sa respiration belt. So, ang pinaka-beneficiary na direct ay mga batang may asthma. Itong mga batang may asthma, naririnig niyo pa ako malinaw?
Opo.
Baka sa signal lang nung iba. Anong huli kong sinabi?
Doon po sa may asthma.
Yeah, may asthma.
Asthma po, asthma.
Okay, go back to asthma. Ang research nila ay respiration belt for children with asthma. So, yung belt na yon ay isinusuot ng isang batang may asthma. Tapos, IoT-based siya ha. So, nagsisend siya ng signal sa website kapag nagbago ang inhalation pattern ng bata. So, pag naging rapid yung paghinga ng bata, pwedeng symptoms siya, na-atakihin siya. So, yung device na suot ng bata ay magsasend ng signal sa magulang na nagbabago po yung pattern ng paghinga ng bata, baka aatakihin siya ng asthma, something like that. Di ba? Very beneficial. Ang kanilang mga respondents, syempre, mga experts like nurse, doctors, syempre computer experts and electronic experts, mga ganun. So, sa scope, i-detalye mo, ano ba yung sinusukat ng iyong device? Nagsusukat ba siya ng BP or blood pressure? Nagsusukat ba siya ng temperature? Nagsusukat ba siya ng inhalation pattern? O may iba pa siyang sinusulat? You detail the scope. Then when it comes to limitations, isa-set mo naman na ito po yung hindi kaya ng aking device. Na kapag wala pong signal, hindi po makakapag-send. O pag wala pong internet, hindi po makakapag-send ng data. Kung wala pong battery, hindi rin po makakapag-send ng data. So there are limitations. You need to detail. Dito mo makikita yung nasasaklawan at saka yung loophole ng iyong device. Alam mo naman yan when you conduct the study. Pag hindi mo na magawa, ilagay mo na lang sa limitation para hindi i-expect ng nagbabasa na na-attain mo ang isang bagay na hindi naman kayang i-attain ng device natin. Last part po ng Chapter 1 is the definition of terms. So this section facilitates understanding of the study by defining the terms or variables according to their contextual use. Meron tayong dalawang uri ng definition. We have the conceptual definition and the operational definition. Pag sinabi natin conceptual definition, ay definition ng isang salita na nanggaling sa dictionary or sa internet. You copy it and you paste it. So that's conceptual definition. Pero when it comes to research, especially in technology research, we are always requiring students to put the operational definition. Pag sinabing operational definition ay kung paano mo ginamit ang salita sa iyong research. Let's say for example, solar battery. Conceptual definition ng solar battery ay isang uri ng device na nag-i-store ng enerhiya na nanggagaling sa maaring sa pinroseso ng solar panel na kinuha mula sa araw. That's a solar battery. Pero when you define it operationally, ang solar battery is the power source of the device. That's operational. Kung paano mo siya ginamit. Okay? You get it?
Yes po.
Okay, good.
Yes
Ang chapter 1,
Yes po.
hindi bahagi ng chapter 1 ang notes, pero dapat lagi kang may notes. It sums up all the books, periodicals. It's on a separate sheet of paper and a separate document. You need to gather lahat ng books, lahat ng periodicals, lahat ng thesis o dissertation na pinagkopyahan mo. Kasi pagdating niya sa dulo, when you cited the references, sisingilin ka rin isa-isa lahat ng pinagkuhaan mo na information. So make sure when we are doing our research online or offline inside the library or using books, lahat ng mga resources or references ay i-take note po natin at wag po natin iwawala. That's chapter 1. Question?
None, sir.
Walang question?
Wala na po,
Suggestion?
sir.
Clarification?
Wala po, sir.
Wala po. Wala po.
Okay. We are now 31. O, 30 kayo. May 13 wala. 32 na. Okay, let's go with chapter 2. Chapter 2 is the review of literature. In other books, they call it theoretical framework. O kaya naman a review of related studies and literature or review of literature-related studies. Sa SLSU, review of literature lang ang ginagamit. Ang review of literature, ang pinakamahakapal na bahagi ng ating manuscript. Isa pa sa makapal na bahagi ng manuscript ay yung source code, yung ginamit nyo sa programming. Yan. Lahat ng source code na i-encode ninyo sa programming ay nilalagay sa manuscript. Nasa appendices sa last one. Kaya naman, let's go back to review of literature. Ang laman nito ay relevant theories. Kaya nang sabi ko nung minsan, kailangan ay 5 years pabalik. So, kung 2020, 2016 onwards, dapat ang studies natin kinukuha. Kung puro 2020 nakuha mo, much and good, and much better. Meron kasi tayong mga lumang mga references, let's say 1996, pero magagamit pa rin sa kasalukuyan. Pero tingnan mo yung ibang study, baka kasi yung 1996 na reference ay na-cite ni kung sino man nitong 2017. So, pwede mo siyang gamitin as halimbawa, ako yung nag-cite. Let's say kay Bloom. Pwede mong gamitin na as Bloom mentioned, as cited by Alinea 2017, that, yun. So, by that means na nababago o napapabata natin yung ating references. So, relevant theories. So, kung IoT ang ginamit, kailangan nakasulat po ang relevant theories related to IoT. Kung gumamit ng Python, isusulat din po ng Python. Kapag ba game application, ano daw ang ginagamit ng programming language? Ha?
Sir, ano po ulit?
Anong ginagamit ng programming language kapag daw gagawa ng game application?
C++ po.
Pwede
C++.
po C++, sir, or Python,
Pwede
or
din nata sa Java eh.
Java.
Okay.
JavaScript.
Yeah.
Java. Sige. Anyway, it's your
CSS3 po.
expertise. Okay. So, kung ano yung ginagamit, kung ano yung relevant theory, sinusulat yan. Actually, ang chapter 2 ay nakabase sa ating objectives. Kung ano yung first objectives, yun yung una mong i-detalye sa chapter 2. Kung ano yung pangalawa, yun ang susunod. Lahat ng ating gagawin, mula chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, hanggang chapter 5, lahat ng yan ay naka-anchor sa ating objectives. Kaya ang unang nire-resolve pag proposal defense ay ang objectives. Kailangan malinaw at maayos ang objectives. No? In your case, since magkakapareho ang nature ng research ninyo, meron tayong parang fixed na set of objectives for you. Hindi nyo na siya kailangang isipin kasi meron tayong fixed na standard na sinusunod when it comes to objectives para sa mga area ninyo. Pag FSM, hindi it varies, depende sa pag-aaral. Next is the related literatures and studies. Make sure na may nag-aaral din na katulad. Kung wala at ikaw ang kauna-unahang nag-aaral na, well and good. That's your contribution to your field of specialization. But at least there should have some related literature and studies. Example, gumamit ka ng mga pictures sa paggawa ng application, yung mga pictures, let's say game ang ginawa mo, gumamit ka ng pictures, so kailangan mo ring i-detailed yan sa chapter 2, ilagay mo rin kung kanino nanggaling yung picture, at syempre yung picture. This portion objectively and logically presents the reviewed literatures and studies related to the study under survey. I require at least 10 pages for review of literature. Kung papansin nyo, dahil naka-double space ang mga thesis, masyadong maunti nga ang 10 pages. So at least you have 20 references and 20 citations. Wag nang bababa doon. Anyway, makikita naman natin yan pag pinrounds na yung papel. At kung ano ang kulang ng mga words, ano ang kulang ng mga literature studies, it will be given to you by your professor, by your advisor, and by the panel members. Okay. The last part of chapter 2 is the conceptual framework. This part of the study illustrates the variables to be studied. It usually holds the input process output model or the dependent and independent variables or other framework structures applicable to the study. In your case, fixed din ang ating conceptual framework. We'll be using the input process output model. Ang conceptual framework usually ay may picture or may figure tapos ina-explain afterwards. I'll be showing you an example later. Ang last part sa inyo conceptual framework kasi wala kayong hypothesis of the study. So, kung meron man na hypothesis of the study, that's the last portion ng chapter 2 after the conceptual framework. Then, of course, huwag kalimutan gumawa ulit ng notes para ma-sum up at mailista ang lahat ng books, periodicals, and other published and unpublished pieces. Wait lang. Which one? Okay. Balik natin na. Hello? Narinig niyo ako?
Opo,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Opo. Opo.
Okay. Nung ako ay college,
Opo, sir.
okay, thank you. Nung ako ay college
Opo,
ay,
Opo, sir.
delay siguro, may gano'n na rin. Nung ako ay college, ang ginagawa ko, every time ako ay magre-research, meron akong separate document at pinapamagat akong sources. So, doon ko lahat pinipaste. Wala akong time para magsulat na agad ng references. So, what I do, website mismo, sinasave ko yung website dun sa folder na yun, sa sources ko, para nandun lahat ng pinagkunan. Para pag binalikan ko siya, pagdating ko sa references, hindi madaling gumawa. No? So, chapter 3, this is the last part of the lesson. Chapter 3, methodology. So, chapter 3 ay may laman na, unang laman, research locale. This is the description of the place where the study is conducted. Usually, I require my students to put two locales. Kasi, halimbawa, gumawa sila ng device. Saan mo ginawa yung device at saan mo tinest? So, magkaiba yon. So, dapat may dalawang lokal. Kung ginawa mo siya sa loob ng SLSU, edi that's your first local. Tapos kung saan mo siya tinest, let's say for example, nagpa-test ka sa fish pond owner, so that's the second local. So dapat dalawang local. In your case, kasi kahit nasa bahay nyo ginawa, ang lokal na nilalagay pa rin palagi natin ay SLSU, Lucena. Tapos kung saan mo siya ikakandak, let's say for example ay gumawa ka ng game application for Quezon National High School, edi ang second local mo for evaluation is the Quezon National High School. So oftentimes, this part covers confidential details because of the Data Privacy Act. So we never express the specific place. Halimbawa, kung Lucena City National High School yung local mo, sa halip na LCNHS ang ilalagay mo, you will just put a national high school in Quezon Province. In that case, naprotektahan mo yung eskwelahan. Kasi meron tayong mga research na negative ang lumalabas na result. And of course, since inobserbahan mo ang isang research local at negative ang lumabas na result, it will be a reflection of them as an institution. So kung hindi sila papayag na lalabas ang pangalan nila sa mga papel, you will use generic name. Okay? Something that is not identifiable. Pwede mo rin gamitin na a national high school in Southern Luzon that's much more bigger. Hindi na ma-identify kung anong school yun. Pakimute ng mic. Okay, let's go with the next. After ng research locale, the next thing is the respondents. So it describes the population of the study and something technique to be employed. Usually, your respondents are the experts. Ang nire-require po natin in your field ay 25 experts. So, dahil computer programming ito, ang ating nire-require na experts una ay computer experts, followed by electronics experts. Because of connections, yung mga wiring. Kung walang wiring, okay lang din naman. Pero kasi program siya, di ba? Kung wala sa electronics, dapat may IT expert. Tapos, depende sa study, kung ginawa mong system ay para sa restaurant, we need to know the feedback of the restaurant owner. Kung ginawa mo itungkol sa basura, kailangan nating marinig ang feedback ng mga menro ba yun? Yung sa environmental, kailangan natin marinig yung feedback nila. Kung tungkol sa isda, ay di kailangan nating malaman kung anong feedback ng mga taga Bureau of Fisheries, something like that. So, basta at least, they should be 25. Okay. Next is the research design. So, the research design is the type of research. So, for your case, ang i-detail nyo lang dyan ay developmental research. The research, this research utilize developmental research approach, and developmental research approach is, you define it, then may source ka, that's the research design. Para hindi naliligaw ang tao at alam nila, okay, developmental pala ang research na ginamit ng mga researchers. The next part is the research instrument. This part of research describes the tools to be used by the researcher. Pag sinabi natin research instrument, it's the survey material. It is the questionnaire. So this is the tool that refers to the questionnaire to be constructed, validated, or administered. In your case, meron na rin akong isa-set na standards. Ang ginagamit sa kasalukuyan, gaya nung nabanggit ko, sa atin ngayon, ang ginagamit is adaptability, functionality, originality, and cost-effectiveness. Yung apat na yon. But I will try to make some revision and I will align it to the National Center ng Technology Education sa Pilipinas kung saan ako gumraduate ng master sa Technological University of the Philippines. Since sila naman ang sentro, siguro naman ay mas updated ang ginagamit nilang parameters kaysa sa atin. So I will be using the same parameters na ginamit namin during my master's thesis. Sa research instrument din dinidetale kung anong ginagamit mo na Likert scale. It will be detailed sa susunod pang mga module pagdating natin sa chapter 3, which is module number 8. Ang Likert scale could be 1 to 5, pero since we are avoiding bias, ayaw nating merong sumagot ng 3 kasi yung 3 nasa middle. Safe yun eh. Hindi mo malaman kung pasado ba yung ginawa kong program o hindi. Kasi ang mga nag-evaluate tend to answer number 3, which is in the middle of 1 to 5. So, ang ginagawa natin, tinatanggal natin ang isa, ginagawa natin 4-point Likert scale. So, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Ang 1 and 2, alam mo na, medyo delikado. Ang 3 and 4, medyo pasado. Ang aim natin sa dulo, pagkatapos ng Research 2, next SEM, ay dapat ma-attain natin na 3 point something yung ating evaluation. Kasi kung hindi, ibig sabihin hindi siya functional, hindi siya cost-effective, hindi siya original. So magkaka-problema tayo doon. We need to make some modification. Gaya ng pinag-usapan natin nakaraan, kailangan niyang umikot ulit sa analyzing the problem bago pumunta ulit sa artifact, then balik sa evaluation, then paikot ulit. Next is the data gathering procedure. Dito, dinidetalye naman kung paano ka mag-gather ng data. So, kanino ka lumalapit, kanino ka nagbigay ng sulat, kanino ka nagpa-approve, tapos kailan ka nagbigay ng questionnaire, kailan siya bumalik, then ginather mo yung data, then tinabulate mo, ilagay mo the figures, so on and so forth. So that's the data gathering procedure. Diyan, it's very important because sa pamamagitan ng data gathering procedure, marereplicate ang research. Pwede ko siyang tingnan at gawin ulit to validate the results kung tama yung lumalabas na result. Next, the statistical treatment. In this part, the researcher discusses the steps he had undergone after data collection. This includes the specific statistical treatment used on the data to help analyze it and draw findings and conclusions. So in your case, ang statistical treatment na ginagamit lang po natin, since developmental ito, ay weighted mean. So madali lang, hindi mo kailangan bumayad ng statistician for that matter. And of course, do not forget, you need to take note as well ang mga books, periodicals, and other published and unpublished thesis and dissertation na ginagamit in the preparation of the chapter. Preparing and writing the research proposal requires scientific process. We need to adhere to the procedure. It follows a well-defined procedure. Each must be executed critically. Each of these procedures will be discussed in full details sa mga susunod pong part ng ating module. At the end of the lesson, allow me to show you an example. Yung chapter 3 na pinag-usapan natin ay general requirements lang. Pag developmental, may additional pa yan mga requirements. Goes like this. Papansin nyo rin, may version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4. Napakadami talagang version. And I am using fixed fixed na title ng document para hindi mahirap. Gawin lang siyang version 1, version 2, version 3 para hindi mahirap i-organize. Ito ay nasa polished version na yung nakikita niyo sa screen. Pero bago yun makarating sa polished version, meron pa yung pinagdaan ng sangkatutak ng mga proseso. Question?
Sir.
Sir, may tanong lang po ako dun sa
Wala
may
na
local.
po.
Yung po bang sa local, di ba po yun ay mag-indicate ka ng dalawang local? Isa po sa mismong SLSU at isa sa mismong yung pag-aanohan niyo po. Paano po sa sa SLSU din po naka-indicate yung yung sa research?
No problem.
Pwede pong isa lang. Ay, sige po.
Kung same lang din. I-detail mo lang dun sa research total na the development and the evaluation process were done inside SLSU Lucena campus. Okay, so this is an example. Ang title niya ay Mid-Air Recording of Carbon Monoxide Using Raspberry Pi 3 with IoT.
Ayaw mo sa missing coco fingers.
Okay. Ang problema nila dito, ang research problem nila, highly urbanized ang Lucena City. So dahil highly urbanized ang Lucena City, ay maraming pollution, especially sa bayan. Lalo na sa gitna, doon sa may Chowking area, sa may Berry Hill. It's their problem. Tapos, they are trying to measure the carbon monoxide na nasa mid-air. Ibig sabihin, mula sa sahig, mula sa kalsada, may sukat kung ano yung mid-air pataas. Tapos, naka-install sa poste ang kanilang device. Tapos, sinusukat niya in real time, may interval lang, let's say 5 seconds ang interval, nag-feed ng information yung device sa website. Tapos nakikita mo na, okay, ganito ang carbon monoxide amount at this particular time. Tapos mapapansin mo na during rush hour, sa panahon na lumalabas ang mga estudyante, sa panahon na uwian ng mga galing opisina, doon dami ang sasakyan, mas tumataas ang level ng carbon monoxide. So they are using Raspberry Pi 3. That's with IoT technology. So sila ang researcher, ito ang eskwelahan, ito ang kurso. Yan. Then, part D po pala ng proposal defense ang preliminary. So, pag-present nyo ng papel, kasama na po ang title page, ang curriculum vitae. Dahil tatlo sila, ay dito ng curriculum vitae. The certificate of originality, ito ay isang pledge na ang lahat ng inyong ginawa sa papel ay in compliance of your own work to the best of your understanding and certainty, walang kinopya na pinablish ng ibang tao at considerable range. Ang allowable po natin na plagiarism level ay 10%. So, pwede mangopya at 10%. Madali lang naman kasing kopyahin mo lahat. Kopya. Pagdating sa dulo, let's say ang plagiarism level mo ay 50%, edi rephrase. Pag na-rephrase mo na yun, hindi mo na yung kinopya kasi pinroseso na ng isipan mo kung paano siya gagawin. Minsan, nakaka-barino ang estudyanteng parang walang thought ang pagkakasulat. Kaya ang ginagawa namin, kung talagang walang base ang pagkakagawa ng papel, walang coherence, hindi maayos ang grammar, hindi mo maintindihan kasi samot-samot. Ang ginagawa namin, 2 beses namin pinapa-English critic. Una, bago mo pakita kay advisor, papaalis nyo muna yun sa barkada nyo magaling mag-English. Yung libre, walang bayad. Okay lang yun. Pero kung wala kayong available na ganung friend, you need to pay 10 pesos per page for English critic. So, at the end of all, sa final defense, bago mag-final defense, after mag-final defense sa dulo, mag-undergo talaga lahat ng English critic. Tapos, 10 pesos per page ang binabayad po doon. Ang pwedeng mag-English critic ay yung mga faculty na mayroong master's degree in English or may doctorate degree in English. Other than that, we never accept them. So, katulad ko, dati nag-English critic ako, pero since naging formal na at naging established na yung research sa Lucena, hindi na ako pwedeng mag-English critic kasi wala naman akong degree in English. Okay, so that certificate of originality, pinipirmahan niya ng researchers. Sa ibang eskwelahan, katulad sa Inverga, ito ay pinapanotaryo. Actually, bagsak presyo pagdating sa SLSU because we're a state university. Sa Inverga, ang English critic ay 50 pesos per page. Next, approval sheet. Ang pinakamahalagang bahagi ng ating manuscript. Kailangan kasi ay may pirma ang technical advisor, ang research advisor, ang panel members, at ang director. Kapag may pirma na yung lahat, ibig sabihin tapos na ang iyong pagpupuyat at pagpapagal sa iyong research dahil napapayag mo silang lahat ng programa. May problema ka sa technical, hindi ang pipirmahan ng technical advisor. Ngayon, kung walang pirma si technical, hindi ko rin naman yung pipirmahan. Kung may problema pa yung manuscript mo, walang pipirma dyan. Lalo namang hindi papayag ang panel, di ba? Umiikot lang kami usually. Pag si Sir Ed ang advisor, di bababa ako dito, magiging akong panel. O kaya pag itong iba. I will be giving you, gaya ng sabi ko nung nakaraan, bibigyan ko kayo ng listahan ng kung sino ang pwedeng maging advisor at technical advisor. Then you have the dedication, kung kanino nyo inaalay ang inyong mga trabaho niyan. Then the acknowledgement, sino ang mga gustong pasalamatan. And of course, the table of contents. Pansin, introduction, this chapter 1, introduction, background of the study, objectives of the study, significance, scope and limitation, and the definition of terms. For chapter 2, we have review of literature. Ang laman niya ay depende sa iyong inaaral. Basta sa dulo ay dapat merong evaluation parameters like adaptability, cost-effectiveness, functionality, and originality, and the conceptual framework. Then for methodology, we have the research lookup, the respondents, the research design, the research instrument, the data gathering procedure. Tapos, in your case, since you are programming students, meron tayong project development, that's additional. Walang fritzing, walang schematic, pero kung applicable, pwede rin. May block diagram, may activity diagram. Yung tipo bang isa siyang uri ng flowchart na kapag pinindot ko si OK sa cellphone, anong kasunod na mangyayari? Magmo-multiplayer ba? O magsi-single player? Pag nag-multiplayer, anong mangyayari? Pag tama ang sagot ko, anong mangyayari? Pag mali ang sagot ko, what will happen next? It's the activity diagram. If there is an isometric diagram na kailangan or exploded, then the construction procedure, paano nyo saan ginawa, paano ka nag-program mula umpisa hanggang dulo. Then of course, the project technical description, ano yung mga technicalities na kailangang lamanin noon, paano siya ino-operate, and the last part, the evaluation criteria, and the statistical treatment. Chapter 4 will be discussed next sem. And sana lang, same prof, no? Hindi ko kasi sure. Siyempre, nagbabago tayo ng loading. Kung next sem, ako pa rin ang magtuturo ng chapter 4 at chapter 5. Pero by principle, kung sino nagturo ng chapters 1 to 3, siya ang nagtuturo sa chapter 4 and chapter 5. And of course, we have the list of tables. Yan. Itong mga period na yan, 1 period, format yan. Pag inalis mo ang isa, yan, hindi ka na sumusunod sa format. So, dapat you follow the format. Kung may period, dapat may period. Kung saan nakatapat si page, kung Roman numeral ito, dapat Roman numeral. We follow the format of SLS. And of course, we have the list of figures. Then the list of appendices. Nandito din yung mga list ng evaluator, kung sino sila, taga saan silang opisina, yung questionnaire na ginamit. Lahat po ng letter na gagamitin sa conduct ng study ay itatago dahil kinokollect yan sa dulo. So, kung hindi magaling magtago ng papel, ang gawin na lang ay i-scan or picturean ng maayos na maganda kasi sinasama yan sa dulo ng paper. Of course, we have the data and evaluation report, anong naging results sa adaptability, sa cost-effectiveness, sa functionality, at sa originality. Then the manual, paano ginagamit ang device mo, o paano ginagamit yung iyong application, ano yung ginamit ng supplies and materials, ano yung work plan, magkano ang nagastos. Ulitin ko po, hanggang 15 mil lang po ang gastos. Certification ng expert na okay sa kanila. Kung meron kang 25 experts, so we need 25 certifications. Okay? Anti-plagiarism result, sinasabit po natin ang paper sa lukban, bumabalik ito, may nakalagay kung ano ang plagiarism level. ID kapag lampas sa 10, ID i-revise, babalik ulit, paulit-ulit hanggang hindi siya nakakapasok. Then dadaan sa English Critic Certification, patunay na tama na ang grammar ng iyong ginawa. Then we have the source code, yung lahat ng codes na ginamit in your program. Then we have the abstract. Sa kasalukuyan, hindi tayo makakapag-include ng abstract kasi nagagawa ang abstract pag tapos na ang study. Then let's go to introduction. Pansin nyo sa introduction pa lang ay meron ng mga citation. So you need to take note of all those citation. Lahat ng yan ay dapat lumalabas sa references cited sa dulo. Nasa ang part ng references cited after ng appendices. Ay, hindi. references cited muna bago appended. After ng chapter 5. So, ang ating introduction, usually, ang nire-require ko is 1 page. Isang buong page. Then, background of the study. Ang background of the study ay may mga parts. Kung anong laman ng paragraph 1, anong laman ng paragraph 2, anong laman ng paragraph 3. Ito ay i-detail ko naman sa next na mga modules. Dito, binibigyan ng substance kung gaano kabigat ang dahilan kung bakit ka magte-take ng study o magkakanap ng study. Of course, next is the objective of the study. So, ito yung general. The main objective of this study was to design. Ito ay past tense kasi tapos na ang study. Lahat ng ating mga verb na gagamitin kapag research proposal ay future. Laging future tense. Pagkatapos ng makandak, pag magpa-final defense na, lahat ng future tense na yan ay i-convert into past tense. So the main objective of this study was to design and develop a device that would record the amount of carbon monoxide in mid-air using Raspberry Pi. Then you have the specific objectives. Specifically, it sought to attain the following objectives. First, to identify the requirements needed for the design and development. Second, to design. Ito is standard. We always start with the identify the requirements. Second is to design. Third is to develop. Fourth is to evaluate. Depende sa parameters na yun. Then of course, the significance. Ano ang kahalagahan niya sa academe? It would help the academe to be aware about what carbon monoxide is all about and its effects on their health. For the educators, anong may tutulong, for the future researchers, for the researchers, and for the students. The scope and limitation. So, dalawang paragraph. The first paragraph, yung focus. And so, the study focus on the development. This device used Raspberry Pi, which served as the main component. The recordings were limited to the data provided by the device, MQ7 gas sensor, so on and so forth. Sa dulo, then the research was limited to, and so on. Then we have the definition of terms. So we have adaptability, carbon monoxide. Ma-identify ang mga terms habang nag-undergo na ng study. They are operationally defined. Example, database is the storage of the gathered data. That's operational definition. It stores the amount of carbon monoxide present in mid-air. So that's operational definition. Kasi kung database, basta taguan lang yan ng data. But since operational definition ang nire-record natin, it goes like that. Then goes review of literature, chapter 2. We have the introduction. Then it starts with air pollution. Because yun ang ating pinag-uusapan din, yung carbon monoxide. Then, let's talk about carbon monoxide. Then, ano ba yung adverse consequences ng carbon monoxide? Bakit mo siya inaaral? Kasi pag may carbon monoxide, nakakasama sa ganito at sa ganyan. Then, after nun, pupunta tayo sa software requirements. Kailangan ng IoT. So, you detail the IoT. In some manuscript, may picture pa si IoT. Then, you need the Python code, you detail the Python code. May SQL, ang may SQL ay ginagamit in managing data para makapunta sa database from the sensor papunta dun sa database. So, detail the may SQL. Then, the freezing application, ginagamit sa pagdodrawing online or web-based. You put it there. Then, the Tinkercad, same material, same purpose. Then, next is the material requirement. So, ano mga ginamit? Gumamit siya ng Raspberry Pi 3. You detail it. Gumamit siya ng MQ7 carbon monoxide gas sensor. You put it there. Kung hindi mo sarili ang picture, maglalagay ka ng source sa ilalim. Then the LCD module, the MCP3008, kino-convert niya yung analog signal to digital para mabasa ng LCD. Then the Wi-Fi, dahil kailangan mo siya. Then next, the evaluation parameters, yung mga ginamit nating parameter na nanggaling dun sa objective. We have the adaptability, the cost effectiveness, the functionality, and the originality. Then the last part is the conceptual framework. We have the input, the process, and the output. So we have the software. Ito yung mga ginamit na software. Ito yung mga ginamit na hardware. Tapos nag-undergo siya ng planning, designing, nag-develop ng system, nag-program, nag-debug ng program, din-develop ang device, nagkaroon ng web application development, nag-testing, nag-evaluate, depende sa adaptability, cost effectiveness, so on and so forth, hanggang sa ma-develop ang mid-air recording of carbon monoxide using Raspberry Pi with IoT. Then you discuss it. Afternoon, welcome to Chapter 3, the methodology. First, you detail the research locale. Ginawa ito sa Barangay 5. In-install sa ML Tag-Araw Street, kung saan maraming vehicle. Itong device na to, ang una nilang proposal, they will also measure sound pollution. Pero in the conduct of the study, hindi kinakaya na isabay ang sound pollution. So, we've decided sa panel na, sige, tanggalin na lang natin since applicable naman siya at nagagamit siya in this, sa pagsukot ng carbon monoxide. Then, tinwist din ang title. Kaya ang title natin is always working. Depende sa kung ano na lang kahihinat na ng ating study. Nandiyan pa kayo?
Opo, sir.
Yes po.
Yes po, sir.
Yes po, sir.
Okay.
Opo, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then we have the respondents. Siyempre, 25 matik from the nearby municipalities. 9 doon ay galing sa DNR Penro. Penro pala, hindi pala yun. Then may dalawang encoder galing sa emission center. Yung ano, pag nagpaparehistro ng sasakyan sa LTO, di ba may mga emission testing center. Yan. Para makita kung talaga bang nagsusukat siya ng carbon monoxide. 12 experts galing sa DANRERDB, isang IT instructor from Art Institute at isang programa. Then, yung research design, gumamit siya ng developmental research method. Then the research instrument, ang research instrument ay gumamit ng 4-point Likert scale. Pag 4, highly acceptable. Pag 3, acceptable. Pag 2, unacceptable. Pag 1, highly unacceptable. You will use the same parameters, acceptability. Then the data gathering procedure, nag-request ng letter kay director, in-approve ng director, nag-collect ng data, naggawa, nag-conduct, nag-program, nag-debug, nag-fabricate, tapos the device questionnaire ay in-administer sa evaluator, then nag-gather ang data, tinabilite, kinompute, in-analyze, and-interpret. As we have the project development, and we have plan, design, program, testing, finalization, evaluation. This is somehow, standard. Pare-pareho dapat kayo, magkakaiba lang dapat kayo ng figure, o magkakaiba kayo ng itsura. Then you discuss it. Then the fritzing diagram, you discuss the fritzing, yung mismong connection, saan nakakonect si sensor, saan nakalagay ang logic level converter, push button switch, you discuss it. Then the schematic diagram, ano ang connection ng mga wiring, you discuss it as well. The block diagram, then you discuss it. Then the isometric, ganyan ang itsura ng device, pati sukat. Then the exploded, pag pinaghiwa-hiwalay, ganito lang magiging itsura. Then construction procedure, it starts with planning. Ano ginagawa pag planning? Idea, nag-uusap. Then you discuss. Then you design. Yan, nagdo-drawing. Then you program, and discuss. Then you fabricate. Ayan, nagpa-fabricate. Kaya from time to time, you take photos of what you are doing. Nagsusolder ng components, nagte-test. Then they finalize. And evaluation with the expert ito, sa LTO ito. Then the project technical description, saan siya gawa, anong mga components, saan nakakonect yung MCP, kay port 0, connected kay TTL, yan. Those were technicalities, malaki ang may tutulong dyan ng technical advice. Then sa operation and testing procedure, paano pinapagana, check all the components, plug in the charger, so on and so forth. Last part, evaluation criteria. So we have this, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ang ginagamit natin sa table ay apat. Pag apat, 3 lang ang guhit. Yan, ganyan ang itsura niya. 3 lang, 1, 2, 3. Walang naka-bold. Basta ganyan lang. Naka-italic size lang yung title. Tapos, the statistical treatment. And that's it. Tapos na. Tapos na. Pwede nang mag-present sa panel. Question? May tanong?
Wala po.
Walang tanong. Okay. I am looking forward na na ginagawa nyo na ang inyong Module 2. Because ngayon ang deadline ng Module 1. Mag-start ako mag-check, may 3 pa lang ako na-checkan. Kasi sa Module 2 nakalagay ang mga titles ninyo. Okay. Ibibigay ko kung sino ang kapartner ninyo, nagawa ko na yung partneran, ay kapag nasa Module 5 na. Okay? Pero, ang next yung i-discuss ay yung module ninyo for Module 3 na isasubmit next week. Today is 17. So, submission on the 24th. Wait lang. Uploaded na sa Google Classroom ito kagabi. Yan. Madali lang naman. Wala pang ang 2 page. Ang una niyong gagawin ay mag-scan ng research proposal. Hindi mag-i-scan na gagamit ng scanner ha. Magtitingin ng research proposal. You draw insights regarding kung kompleto ba siya o comprehensive ba siya. Isulat ang research proposal title. You can look online. Or you contact yung mga kilala ninyong mga nagpo-4th year na sa kasalukuyan. Kung may copy pa sila ng research proposal nila, pwede niyong hingin. So, research proposal title. Sino ang author? Then, ilagay niyo ang general insight niyo kung kompleto at comprehensive. Base doon sa ating pinag-aralan, meron ba siyang research local? Meron ba siyang introduction? Meron ba siyang background to study? Tingnan niyo kung kompleto. Then, isulat niyo dito, yung general insight. Tapos, you put suggestion. Dapat, meron naman siyang scope and limitation pero hindi comprehensive. Ilagay niyo sa suggestion that it should be somehow comprehensive, detail something like this and something like that. Then sa dulo, just put words in the acronym for proposal. You make an acronym showcasing the advantages of preparing research proposal and conducting research by using the word proposal. P stands for R-O-P-O-S-A-L. It stands for something. Yun lang. Question?
Wala
May
na po.
question lang po.
Okay.
Sige, magtanong.
Sir, about po dun sa i-scan na research proposal, dapat po ba ay siya connected po sa dito?
Sa study mo?
About po sa programming or sa yung mga devices.
Oo nga, hindi ko naisip yun. Sige, okay lang namang hindi. Basta research proposal.
Okay po, sir.
Pero kung magagawa ng paraan na related, mas maganda kasi mas may expose ka dun sa kung ano yung field na gagawin mo. Pero kung hindi, okay. Yes, Mara Flores, anong tanong mo?
Dagdag lang po sir dun sa tanong ni Amores. Yung i-scan po ba namin proposal title ay
Wala ka, Mara Flores.
yung i-scan
I-type mo na lang kung gusto mo. Chat mo. Nakafocus pa din po ba sa quantitative? o qualitative study? Which focus sa quantitative ha? Medyo lalayo tayo pag nag-qualitative tayo. Quantitative. Diba ang structure ng qualitative? Tayo ay gearing towards quantitative research. Iba ang structure. Ang qualitative ay nagbabago-bago depende sa nature ng study. Kasi quality ang tinitingnan niya. Wala siyang masyadong bihis, wala siyang masyadong structure kung anong kinakailangan ng research. Question pa? Ano? Magtanong na ngayon para hindi kayo nahihirapan sa susunod. Wala na bang tanong?
Na po. Ano po, sir? Okay na po.
Grado kayo ha. Base sa timeline ko, we will be having title defense ahead of time kasi kailangan nating mauna bago mag-prelim exam. Kasi pag sumabay sa prelim exam, marami kayong re-reviewin ng mga subject. At busy rin ang mga professor nun. So, around 4th or 5th week. Next week ay 3rd week, diba? Then we have the 4th or the 5th week. Pwede tayo magpa-schedule ng title defense. Okay? Ang setup sa title defense, ay di, kung sino magka-partner, sila ang haharap. Tapos yung iba waiting lang muna sa waiting room. Wala na talaga yung tatanong. Okay, thank you so much. God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful day today. Ingat. Kung
Thank
nasaan
you,
man